I'd like to start this video by congratulating the Los Angeles Rams on defeating the Cincinnati Bengals 23-20 in Super Bowl 56. Congratulations to the city of Los Angeles, and congratulations to Matt Stafford on finally winning a Super Bowl after being traded to the Rams prior to this 2021/2022 season. Happy for him, glad to see him succeed. He unfortunately, all those years in Detroit can never really do anything with all that talent. But good for him. He's finally able to succeed, and I'm happy for the guy. I was rooting for the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm low-key a Joe Burrow fan. I definitely did hop on the bandwagon for a couple weeks once the Packers were eliminated. But I mean, I'm happy. I would have been happy either way. Happy for Matt Stafford. I'm more of a small market guy. I mean, I am a fan of the Green Bay Packers, but I'll wrap it up here. Congratulations to LA. Congratulations to Matt Stafford on that win. And Cooper Kupp, he's also a pretty good receiver, so congrats to him. Congrats to that whole team. And officially, we're now into the 2022 offseason. And from now on, we're going to focus on the Green Bay Packers only. Now that LA's won the Super Bowl, it's time to talk about the 2022 offseason. So this is what I'm going to start calling the State of the Bay 2022 NFL offseason edition. Now, to begin, we will quickly recap the Green Bay Packers lost in the divisional round to the San Francisco 49ers 13-10. In that game, the offense didn't really play the greatest, but the main thing that cost the Packers the game, in my opinion, and to the opinion of many other people, was the special teams. The special teams in that game allowed a blocked field goal and a blocked punt, which was returned for a touchdown, which you put those two together, that is 10-point swing. That is 3 points the Packers didn't score, the blocked field goal, and that is 7 points that San Francisco did score because they did block a punt, close to the Packers' end zone, and which they scored very easily. So poor special teams play led to San Francisco essentially, I guess, getting 7 points and then keeping 3 off the board for Green Bay. The final score in that game was 13-10. So even if you get rid of at least one of those two major mistakes on special teams, the Packers either win the game or it's a tie game, and you go into overtime and you see what happens. Uh, but unfortunately, that's just the way that things happen. Poor special teams play cost Packers the game, and now here we are in the off season. Uh, I mean, all season the special teams was an issue. Not only the fans, I mean, all the fans, but everyone in the media was just kind of kept saying that the special teams is going to be an issue, and some people even saw it and said that the special teams was going to cost the Green Bay Packers a shot at the Super Bowl, which it did inevitably. However, the Packers did choose to ignore this issue because they did keep winning. Because on the offensive and defensive sides of the ball, the Packers overall were pretty good. I mean, you have Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams, along with a couple other guys, and a great offensive line. That offense, I'm pretty sure, was top 10, probably top 5 in the NFL this year. I mean, when you have Aaron Rodgers, you're going to be a top offense. And then on the defensive side of the ball, we saw Joe Barry in his first year as defensive coordinator. He put together a pretty solid defense. And then Brian Gutekunst going out and getting guys like Rasul Douglas and Devondre Campbell, very underrated, well, I guess not now, at the time, underrated free agent signings, and both of those guys turned out to be very good players, and they fit very well into the system. Rasul Douglas was an excellent borderline shutdown. He was a shut. He was an excellent shutdown corner, excellent secondary piece. Definitely filled in really well for Jair Alexander, as Jair missed pretty much from October on of the rest of the regular season. And then Devondre Campbell finally filled that middle linebacker position that the Packers have been looking for pretty much since like the AJ Hawk days. Blake Martinez, he was a linebacker until about 2019. He got a lot of tackles, but he wasn't really that great of a field general. Devondre Campbell, he came in, and within a few weeks, he had the respect of all the teammates, and he became a leader of that defense. Him and Zadarius Smith, and then Preston Smith, of course, and Jair were the leaders of that defense. Can't forget about Kenny Clark as well. But the Packers finally found who they needed in Devondre Campbell at the middle linebacker position. And we'll talk about the future later on in this video. Um, but I certainly hope that the Packers are able to bring Devondre Campbell back. But we'll see what happens. I'll talk about that later. Um, but yeah, getting back to the main thing that I was talking about earlier was the Packers special teams. Because of the horrible special teams play in that playoff game, which costed them the game and most likely the shot at the Super Bowl. Um, the former Packers special teams coordinator Maurice Drayton, he was fired about a week and a half after that game. I'm honestly surprised it took him that long. I honestly wanted him fired the second the clock hit zero. Um, but it took him a little while. They probably debated whether or not to keep him, but at the end of the day, he needed to be gone. No disrespect to him as a guy, but he did a very poor job as a special teams coordinator, and all season it showed that the special teams play just wasn't there. Especially in the Chicago game, the Kansas City Chiefs game, and then obviously in the playoff game against San Francisco, just making stupid mistakes that should never happen or should only happen once in every thousand plays. Uh, Too many mistakes, not enough coordination, and the Packers had 10 players on the field for the San Francisco field goal, which ended their season. And that was after a timeout. Things like that cannot happen on the special teams. So the Packers fired their special teams coordinator, Maurice Drayton. Not long after the news broke that Maurice Drayton was fired, news came out that Green Bay was aggressively pursuing and eventually did hire former interim head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders, Joe Bisaccia. He was formerly their special teams coordinator, and then he took over as an interim coach after John Gruden resigned from the head coach position for the Raiders. Um, Joe Bisaccia has a very good track record as a special teams coordinator. He has taken teams who were in the 20s and just bottom of the league, and he's taken them into the top 10, top 15. And honestly, we don't even need the Packers special teams to be the top five. We just need it to not make those silly mistakes. If the Packers special teams next season ranks 14th, and I'm sure a lot of people will be happy with that. If even if he gets it to the middle of the pack, we will take it. Anything that is better than the bottom third of the league, we'll take it because the Packers should be able to retain most of its offense and most of the defense, and the Packers should still be a decent team, depending on Aaron Rodgers' decision, and I'll talk about that later. But yes, anyway, Joe Bisaccia, he is the new Packers special teams coordinator. I don't remember how many years he agreed to, but I'm assuming it's a multiple year deal. Obviously, we'll see how his first year goes, but I mean, I think it's pretty safe to say that you can't really get any worse than 31st in the league. There's only 32 teams. I think there's only one team worse than Green Bay on special teams this year. I can't think of who it is. It's probably Jacksonville or Houston or Seattle. I think it might be Seattle. Don't quote me on that though. But anyway, I mean, what I'm trying to get at is there's only way to go is up from here in terms of special teams. So hopefully Joe Bisaccia is able to fix the special teams. I'm sure he will. We'll see how next year goes and hope for the best on the special teams portion of the game. Also in the news, this past week, 2 days or 3 days before the Super Bowl, Thursday night, um, during the NFL honors, Aaron Rodgers won his fourth MVP, and he went back to back. He won it last year. He also won it this year. Um, I believe the only guy with more MVPs than I think Rodgers tied a couple guys, and the only guy with more MVPs than Aaron Rodgers is Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning has five. Peyton Manning was the guy to hand Aaron Rodgers his fourth MVP award. So good for the Green Bay Packers starting quarterback. Obviously, we would have hoped that it would have ended with a Super Bowl championship, but I mean, I guess you can't have it all. But Rodgers won his fourth MVP, and he is undecided on his future. He talked a little bit about, or I guess he alluded to possibly thinking about retirement. He says he's not afraid of retiring. I don't really see that happening considering he just won his fourth MVP. And the fact that Tom Brady just retired, I don't think that Rodgers would want to retire the same year that Tom Brady does. because 5 years down the road, Tom Brady will be eligible for the Hall of Fame, and I don't think Rodgers wants to retire that same year because why would he want to begin his eligibility for the Hall of Fame the same year that Tom Brady does? I just don't see how that works out logistically. Um, so I honestly think that he is going to return, hopefully for multiple years, but at the very least, I think he returns for one more year if Green Bay is able to keep, obviously Devontae Adams and a couple other guys. Um, but yeah, and everyone in the media is going to talk about he's going here. But from what I've heard and from what people in the media have heard, it's pretty much set that he is either going to retire or he's going to return for one last big hurrah. Hopefully, the Packers go all in and we do end up getting Rodgers a second Super Bowl championship because he deserves it. Um, yeah, and then what else? The Packers are prepared to go all in. They have come out and said it. They're prepared to go all in to keep as many players as possible and run it back for one more year to try to get that Super Bowl. Um, I mean, down the road, 3 to 5 years from now, eventually you will see the Packers end up blowing it up and embracing a rebuild, which I am dreading, but it's bound to happen eventually. But the longer we can keep Rodgers and the longer we can stretch that window for the Super Bowl title, the better I'll feel, the better every Green Bay Packer fan will feel. Um, but I mean, we don't know what's going on in Rodgers' head. Maybe he's ready to retire. I mean, he has played 17 seasons, and that's quite a bit. But like I said earlier, I don't really see it happening considering he just won his fourth MVP and he's still playing at an elite level. And then the final thing, which I've alluded to earlier, is the salary cap situation. As it stands right now, the Green Bay Packers are about $45 million over the salary cap, um, which isn't great. However, last season, the New Orleans Saints were about $108 over the salary cap, or $108 million over the salary cap, I should say. And they found a way to make it work, and they kept most of the guys. They kept pretty much who they wanted to. They didn't really have to make too many cuts or release too many guys from that roster. So there's ways you can um, lower your salary cap hits. You can restructure deals. You can sign guys to extensions, give them a lower base salary, and then give them a higher signing bonus, and then you would kind of prorate that bonus over a couple years. So it lowers the cap hit for now. It does kick the can down the road. So I mean, in about I don't know 2 to 4 years, you will see the Packers put themselves in a pretty tough situation because of what they would do. This is me theorizing of what they would do now. Kick the can down the road, get a lower salary hit this year and possibly next year, and try to go all in and win that Super Bowl. Um, but yeah, I mean that's pretty much all I have for now. It's all the news that has come out regarding the Green Bay Packers. Um, yeah, I probably won't have too. There probably won't be too much news up until about a week or two before the draft. I will most likely make a draft video. Who they draft and what I think and grades and all that stuff. But for now, it's the NFL offseason. It's one of the saddest times of the year. Baseball is still a couple months out, and even then, it doesn't really get exciting until September. The NBA season is in full swing. The All-Star weekend is coming up this upcoming weekend. As you can see, I'm a Bucks fan, so go Bucks. But this is Packer-related stuff, so I mean, it's the off season. It's pretty much wait and see. We'll see what Rodgers decides. Hopefully, he comes to a decision sooner rather than later. That way, the Packers know whether to go all in and start working on restructuring deals to get more salary cap, or if he's going to retire, then maybe the Packers consider blowing it up and embracing the rebuild now, and the Jordan Love era would most likely begin. But we have to wait and see what happens. Like I said, probably won't be a whole lot until April when the draft rolls around, but if there is any news, any major news that comes up, I will be sure to let you guys know, and I'll keep you updated. And until next time, we'll see you guys later.